The first voicemail came 3 days after the funeral. I didn't listen to it right away. I'd been ignoring my phone since everything happened, letting the messages pile up unanswered. Friends, co-workers, distant relatives who suddenly remembered my name. I just couldn't deal with it. When I finally found the strength to check my voicemail, I was bracing myself for the sympathy. You know, the awkward pauses, the people saying they were sorry for my loss, all the things you expect. But instead, I saw her number. My mother's. I just stared at the screen, waiting for my brain to catch up with what my eyes were seeing. The phone number hadn't been disconnected yet. That happens sometimes, right? I told myself it was just a delayed message, a technical glitch, anything but the thought that was already making my hands start to shake. Finally, I pressed play. "Hi, sweetheart," her voice said gently. "I just wanted to hear your voice." I dropped the phone. It clattered against the hardwood floor. My mother had been sick for a long time. Long enough that the house had learned how to be quiet without her laughter filling it. Long enough that I thought I was prepared for this silence. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepares you for hearing a voice you have already said your final goodbye to. I picked up the phone and listened to the message again and again. It was perfect. The tone, the small pause between her words, even the way she always cleared her throat right before she started speaking. There was no distortion, no static. It sounded like she was sitting right there beside me. The voicemail ended just like that, without a goodbye. That night, I didn't sleep a wink. The second message came the next morning. "I know you're busy," the voice said. "You always were. Just remember to eat something today." That was something she used to say, every single day. A wave of cold washed over me. I checked my call log. No missed calls, just the voicemail, sitting there, my heart hammering against my ribs. I called the number back. It rang once, then went straight to voicemail. But this time, the greeting wasn't the generic robotic voice. "Hi, sweetheart," my mother's voice said, clear as day. "I'll call you back." I ended the call and just sat there in the crushing silence of my apartment. My own heartbeat so loud it felt like the room was listening to it. I went to the phone company that afternoon. I had to know what was happening. They pulled up the account and told me the number was inactive. No outgoing calls, no incoming calls. According to their system, it hadn't been used since before my mother passed away. I played them the voicemail. The two employees exchanged a look, that kind of look that says, "We have a weird one here." They told me there must be some sort of system error. I asked them to delete the number, permanently, erase it completely. They promised they would. That night, my phone buzzed on the nightstand, a new voicemail. This one was longer. "I don't like when you ignore me," the voice said softly. It wasn't angry, it wasn't upset, it was just disappointed, the way only a mother can sound. "It makes me feel like you're slipping away." I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the blank wall, my breath catching in my throat. "This isn't real," I whispered, though I wasn't sure who I was trying to convince. The voicemail continued, as if it heard me. "You left the hallway light on again." My mother said, "You should turn it off. You know how expensive electricity is." I glanced toward my doorway. The hallway light was on. A thin sliver of yellow light cut through the darkness. I hadn't mentioned it to anyone. I hadn't texted anyone. No one had been over to my apartment. My phone slipped from my hand and landed face down on the soft carpet. I stopped listening after that. I just couldn't. But the voicemails kept coming anyway. Sometimes they were gentle, little whispers of encouragement. Sometimes they were sharp reminders of routines I hadn't followed in weeks, like taking out the recycling or watering the plants. Sometimes they were just quiet, nothing but the sound of soft, steady breathing on the other end. Then one afternoon, I was sitting in the living room, trying to read a book and failing, when my phone buzzed. "I can hear you moving around," the voice said. "You sound tired." But I hadn't been moving. I hadn't made a single sound. I was sitting perfectly still. I turned my head slowly, scanning the empty room. The silence was deafening. "You should come home," my mother said. "It's not good for you to be alone like this." Home, the house she died in, the place I couldn't bring myself to step foot in again. I was losing my mind. I tried blocking the number. It didn't work. The voicemail still appeared. I bought a brand new phone, a different model, a different carrier. The messages followed. Desperate, I unplugged the new device and locked it in the glove compartment of my car overnight. In the morning, when I finally dared to turn it on, there were 3 new voicemails waiting for me. "You don't need that phone," my mother's voice said, its calm tone more terrifying than any scream. "You need me." And that's when it hit me. The chilling, impossible realization. The messages weren't responding to my actions or my words. They were responding to my thoughts. The final voicemail arrived just after midnight. "Sarah," the voice said, using my name the way only she ever did, drawing it out slightly. "I'm getting tired of waiting." I listened as the sound of her voice changed. The room around me seemed to echo differently, as if she wasn't speaking through a tiny phone speaker anymore, as if the sound was coming from inside the room with me. "I can't reach you like this," she continued, her voice seeming to move through the air. "You have to come closer." Before I could even think, I stood up. My legs moved on their own, carrying me towards the dark hallway. It felt longer than it should have. The air grew heavier, colder. My phone vibrated again in my hand, the screen casting a pale light on my shaking fingers. "You're standing now," the voice said, a note of satisfaction in it. "Good." I froze in the middle of the hall, my blood turning to ice. A soft, chilling whisper seemed to come from all around me. "I'm in the house," she said softly. "I always have been." The call ended, and the lights went out. I woke up the next morning on the living room floor. My phone lay beside me, the screen cracked, completely dead. There were no missed calls, no voicemails. The house felt normal again, empty, quiet. But sometimes, late at night, when the room is dark and my thoughts begin to drift, I can hear her voice in my head, gentle, patient, still waiting. And I know, deep down, that if I ever dare to answer her out loud, she won't need the phone anymore.